and welcome to another SecretEntourage.com video. Today we get to talk to Ted Nguyen, owner, founder of EVS Motors in Texas. Is that correct, Ted?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, you know what? I think we should give some credit to my wife for keeping me motivated and just being by my side the whole time, and putting up with me, and all my decisions and the risks that I take. So I've got to give my wife Anita a lot of credit for that too.
Well, before we give her credit, let our readers and our viewers understand what it is you exactly do. Now, me and you have known each other for quite some time. When we kind of first bumped heads when you were selling a set of wheels from your Lamborghini, and I was buying them for my Lamborghini, so we kind of met then. And I think both of our businesses evolved significantly since then. But can you tell, I guess, people who don't know you, who are not maybe in the car industry, a little bit more about what you do currently and how you got started?
Well, what I do currently is we have it's a boutique store. It's a retail business where customers from everywhere bring us cars, whether they ship it in or if they're a local customer, they drive it here. What we do is we're bespoke cars. We customize them. We do wheels, suspension upgrades, brake upgrades. Pretty much like most performance shops, we also incorporate a little bit different. We have 10,000 square feet facility. We incorporate paint corrections, a full detail facility. We also do like window tints, and we pretty much provide all the services and upgrades necessary for anybody's car. And the way I started out was back around 2001. I worked for Porsche, the local Porsche dealerships. I did their internet marketing. I also did a little bit of sales on the side. And the way it evolved into EVS Motors was, the first car I ever bought was a 1964. The first classic car I bought was a 1964 Impala. Just something I grew up in the 90s wanting. I guess listening to too much of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg music can do that. So I think around 2001, 2002, I bought a 64 Impala. It was black with a metallic silver interior. That actually existed, a metallic silver interior on a 64 Impala. Of course, I put 20s on there, chrome wheels. It looked really nice. And everywhere I would go, people would just pull me over, ask me to sell the car. Ask for me to sell the car and try to purchase from me on the spot. And I never really took it seriously until one day this guy pulls me over on the side of the freeway at 59, gets me to pull over. I go ahead and pull over. I just thought he was going to ask me about the car, take pictures. He was like, follow me to the bank. So I was like, okay, maybe this guy's serious. So I follow him to the bank. I think it was a WAMU back then. It was a WAMU. Went in there. He asked me how much I wanted. Went to the teller. He withdrew all the cash, paid me on the spot. I gave him the car, had my wife pick me up. So from there, I got the vibe, hey, you know what? I should buy more of these old cars and sell them. And it just worked out that way. So that's how EVS got started, was buying and selling a lot of old muscle cars. I would buy them, customize them the way I like, and then I'd sell it and make profit from that.
So you were working at Porsche. How old were you when you were working at Porsche as an internet sales marketer?
Yeah. I'm that old that I'm not going to remember exactly, but let's see. I think that was about, say, 14 years ago. So I was probably about 20, anywhere from 24, 25, I think.
So in your mid-20s, you worked for a car dealership doing internet marketing. That was I'd say a mid-level job, not necessarily entry-level, but also not like...
The pay was all right.
Yeah, so it was an average job. And then you start selling cars. Where do you get the capital to start a shop, or how did that kind of get... Because your shop is beautiful.
See, that's a cool thing. So when I worked for Porsche, to be straight up, I made about $40,000 when I worked for Porsche. So I didn't make a whole lot, but I had enough money to save. But the way it worked was I was always buying and selling cars. So when I worked for Porsche, one of my first cars I bought while working there was a 2001 Subaru WRX. I bought that. I modified it the way I liked it. And, everyone's always told me whatever money you put in a car, you're not going to get back. You hear that a lot. So I bought a brand new Subaru WRX. I put whatever money I wanted in it, whatever I wanted to invest, all of this tricked up mods, turbo kits, and all that. I wanted to sell it. I put it on eBay. I made $5,000 more than I had invested in it, and I was dumbfounded along with my coworkers. Just like, how do you make more money than what you invested in it? Just like, that's a new car. How do you make money? You put like 15,000 miles on it, and you sold it, you made money? They don't understand that. So I took that money, so I made that money, and then I financed my 64 Impala. I put some cash down, financed that. That car, I made anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 profit. So the money started coming really quick when I was profiting. So the Subaru, I made $5,000 on top of what I invested. The Impala, I made anywhere between 5 and 10. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was decent money for my age at the time, including what I made. So if I already made $40,000 a year, all of a sudden one car sale increases to $45,000. Another car sale made it $55,000 or so. And so after that, I bought a 67 GTO, made another $7,000, $8,000. The money started rolling in real quick. Then I got a loan out. And then I started buying multiple cars. I'd do 3, 4 cars, and each car would net me $5,000 to $10,000. And as I got more deep into it, I started developing better ideas and the way I do things. You know how when you do things, you gain more experience, you just become more efficient. So I got to a point where I was making $30,000, $40,000 to $50,000 a car. So the money was extremely good, and the market was extremely good in the early 2000s up until 2008. The market was extremely good. I mean, people were fighting for the cars.
So
one got back out.
Let me stop you for a second. So you were buying these cars very cheap, right? And then you were customizing them, is that correct?
I wouldn't say cheap, but it'd be at market value.
Okay.
And the reason I believe I had obtained so much money and profit from the cars is I just did things differently, Sometimes when you kind of stray the line where no one else has gone before, then other people would recognize what's so good about it and then understand it, It's just when for example, like the iPhone, right? Touchscreen phone at the time, when I heard about it first, I was like, oh, that's not going to do well, because I've seen Motorola do it. They just didn't do it right, There's plenty of touchscreen phones before the iPhone. They just did not do well. But yet, when someone does it right, it revolutionizes, the industry. So I just think my ideas worked.
Is that what you did with the cars? I mean, what did you do right? Like, what was different about what you did?
So early 2000, I would take a 64 Impala. And keep in mind, I worked at Porsche, so I saw what they do with European cars, right? So I took the ideas that I liked from those cars and I applied it to the classic cars. So some of the features I did were like, obviously, all cars I saw had AC, fuel injection, and with classic cars, most of them didn't have fuel injection. They were carbureted, so they drove like crap. So I would do that. I would do, xenon headlights, which a lot of older guys actually aren't familiar with. They're just used to normal headlights, steel beam headlights. So I'd modify, housings to make it fit a more modern headlight housing. So that would allow me to retrofit xenon headlights. I would obviously do navigation, backup cameras, and that was doing all this stuff on cars, early 2000. I don't think a lot of people were doing backup cameras and just all these more modern amenities in a classic car.
So
you see it now, but, it's caught on since.
Right, so you modernized the classic genre early on before others did it.
Correct, yes. Okay. Well, I wouldn't say before others, but at the time, I didn't really see a whole lot. I mean, I think even in early 2000, I really didn't hear a whole lot about, Chip Foose. I mean, he was around, but it wasn't until later in mid-2000 that he really blew up.
Okay, so that gave you a little bit of capital. Is that what allowed you to start your shop? Like to actually...
Yeah, I mean, making $20,000, $30,000 a car is really good.
Okay, so you're making that cash, you start a shop. How does that go? I mean, I know, were you just doing older cars at the time? How did you evolve into exotics?
At the time, I was strictly classic cars, From, I think it wasn't until maybe, I'll say 08 that I started kind of shifting to newer cars because the way the market changed, I think a classic car is considered a third or fourth car, A first car would be your sedan or a truck or an SUV. Your second car